Well, hey everyone, it's me, Eric Kimball, back here finally with part 2 to my previous video in which I explained that I had a project, I had an idea, and that was to create a revolving glass jar, small parts and hardware storage system here. And I showed and told about making the discs and getting the jar lids screwed on. And then I said, I still got to figure out how to hang these things so that they're solid, you know, they don't wobble, and that they can spin freely. And I've done it. It was a creative opportunity for me to do this, and I love creative opportunities. Now, I'm going to close up here and show you the specifics of how I have these installed. But first I want to tell you that I have a cabinet here. It's an open cabinet, and it's 3/4 inch plywood on the sides, top, and bottom. The back is open, but I have a hanging rail top and a hanging rail on the bottom with screws into the stud behind this. And it's also sitting on a shelf. There will be quite a bit of weight to this cabinet when it's fully outfitted with the hardware. I've got my pan head sheet metal screws here and some here. I've got other odd things up here. Corrugated fasteners, you know what those are? That's an old thing that I'll actually be showing you in a future video. I got rivets, I got the white aluminum trim nails, I got wedges for axes, things like that up here on the top. So I got the basic cabinet made, the frame. And then I put in these 3/4 inch boards. I'm calling them the hanger boards for these discs. And I have a particular arrangement here that I'm going to close up on, show you how I did this. So this is what I made in the previous video. 14-inch diameter circle, 3/4 inch plywood, cut it on the table saw, and I attached the jar lids equally spaced around. Then I drilled a 1/2 inch hole in the center, okay? And right here is a 1/8 inch by 7 inch, a disc also cut on my table saw, and this is PVC plastic, which seems like it would make for a nice smooth bearing surface. And it's half the diameter at 7 inches than this. So it's just a hunch that that ought to work good for a bearing surface. Put the 1/2 inch hole in that. This hanger board, 3/4 inch pine, which is screwed in from the side. This is also 7 inches, so I can easily get this centered and on there just right. And up through the center is a bolt right here, 1/2 inch bolt with a 1/2 inch flat washer. That's threaded all the way. These are actually axle bolts for the wheel hoe kits that I used to sell. But anyway, that's a 1/2 inch bolt in the 1/2 inch hole through the 1/2 inch PVC bearing. Oh, I forgot to put the washer on, the flat washer on the bottom. Okay, then we get it in there like that, okay? And then we put it up through this hole, and then it has to be adjusted. So I'll show you how I adjusted this. You want to, I got another 1/2 inch washer putting right on there, and I'm going to take a 1/2 inch nut and I'm going to thread it right down like that. I've still got some easy spin action here, but I want to get it just right and I want to lock it in. So what I'm going to do is adjust this nut right here so that it tightens down enough for this to spin freely, okay, and not have wobble, or have, you know, very little wobble. And then when I've done that, I am going to lock it into that position with a second nut. It would probably be a whole lot easier if I bought one of those lock nuts. You know, they have a nylon on the inside, and I just brought that down and locked it into position with the lock nut. But I have an abundance of these, so I'm relying on the locking action of two nuts together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the head of the nut, or the head of the bolt, I should say. We don't want to get our nuts and bolts confused here. And adjust this bottom nut until it's just right. And once I have that, maybe we'll go a little bit more. It's a real fine-tuning thing. Once I have that, and I have it right there, then I'm going to use the wrench to hold this bottom nut so that it does not move. Very important, because even the slightest movement one way or the other is going to make a big difference here at this point. Now screw this down tight, that top nut, and we'll give it a little snug action. There you go. That's going to hold. And I've got a little resistance here. It's not spinning freely, but it's spinning pretty good. And when I get weight on it from these jars, it should spin just right. I got a comment in my previous video that this is not an efficient way to store small parts and hardware. And I agree with that. It's not the most efficient way to do it. One of those little or big cabinets with all the little plastic drawers in them, that would be more efficient. But this is, in my mind, pretty nice. I'm liking this. It's accessible. I can see what I have and how much I have, and it's going to work. It's going to work for a lot of fasteners. For 48 different fasteners here, 12 times 4 revolving shelves. If I had a big shop, I think I would be inclined to make a couple of these and, you know, have them be taller. It really is nice for a lot of little odd fasteners. Now, when it comes to the fasteners that I'm going to be using frequently for building projects and such, in my situation, it's going to be wood screws. It's going to be the Craig jig screws. It's going to be these little trim screws. And I have those here in little bins, these little U-line bins, S12414. I got a bunch of these on eBay. I'm liking these. They stack, so you can, you know, lift one and move it over, have access here, and put it back in place. I like those. I just got those recently. And then I'm about done here, but I just want to say that I put shelves in here, and I have these boxes. They're all the same size. This is the U-line S16722, 12 by 5 by 5. And what I've got here is, in this row, sinker nails, 6/8, 16s. Up here I have miscellaneous hex head screws. Got a box of those. Miscellaneous Brad's tacks and small nails. Miscellaneous vintage straight slot wood screws right there. I've got miscellaneous brass wood screws here. And I'll have boxes for miscellaneous small bolts, for nuts, for washers, where you've got a bunch of them and you just kind of sort through and find what you need. Okay, that makes sense for a lot of things. I'll have good organization here. I'll have semi-good organization here. It would be just too much room to separate out all of the things in these boxes. And these are things that may not get used much at all, but I know where they are. That's important. They're grouped together and I know where they are. Now, I'm sure that everyone with a wood shop, most everyone with a wood shop, has just a box or a container. I've got several of them full of different size screws and other miscellaneous hardware. Now I have a place I can, when I have time, I can sort these out, get them where they go, and be able to access them when I need them without searching all over and getting discouraged and going buying something that I already have. That's my story here on this idea. I'm happy with it. I offer it to you as a solution, a possible solution for organization in your shop, and I thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.